Yeah.
She's 20.
Yeah. She'll be 21
How old are you?
in like a month.
Really?
Yeah. I'll be 42.
You're 42?
September,
Oh my
yeah.
god, he looks so like youthful.
Oh my god,
and
thank
your
you.
daughter's my age, we can hang out.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Chloe needs to come like her. For sure.
You know, actually, to be
She
honest,
does.
yeah, she's honestly like one of like being so like young. Sometimes I forget like how young she actually is because like mentally, I feel like you as a person have always just been like so much more mature than other people. Like, there's things that happen in your past that keep you, you know, very and like apart from that, like you know, you'll
have a dumb moment
and act young sometimes. And then that's when I get reminded, oh yeah, that's my little sister.
When I ask them really dumb, especially like Lana,
I'm like, girl.
I think I'm still learning from my friends and people around me about how to have better sex, and also I think as you get older, like your sex changes, the things you like change.
You learn yourself.
The things that you're
my first love, like all of a sudden he called me like 2 years ago and was like, hey, I'm into BDSM now. I said, work. Okay.
With it.
Hey. I'll call you.
But no, yeah, it's like definitely a journey of constantly learning, and I feel like I've almost learned more like low key from people I don't date. Like some of the like my relationships, like there's been like good, you know, sex or whatever, but there's also you're piling everything else that comes with a relationship. So like there's actually been like some guys I see, and we have like a really casual like relationship where it's like we know we're just really sleeping with each other. We get like and we pretty much hang out and just like it's like friends with benefits basically, and I feel more free and like learning with like free and learning with them, and like let's try this, and like it's more like I feel like I've learned more with like more of like the fun crazy hookups as opposed to like the person I'm dating the past couple relationships.
But there also is a lot of pressure like when you're with somebody to make sure, like, are you okay?
Yeah.
How does this feel? Like I'm embarrassed because I might want to tell you this, but also like, you know, we're dating, so I have to see you every day. Like, what if you think this is weird? Like, that's like going to do in a relationship, or like, you know, vice versa.
Or if something bad happens, it's like, well, shit, do I have to break up with this person? You know what I mean? As opposed to the friend with benefit, like, maybe we don't see them again.
Are they open to these things like off the wall shit? Or like, what?
Or if they're like, yeah, I've had some crazy shit happen.
I'm gonna go. No, I'm not breaking up. I gotta go though.
What's that movie? She's like, I'm gonna shit on these walls. I'm gonna shit on these walls, Ray. And you're like, okay, too dirty. Gotta go. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, one more. Fast forward 20 years. What does life look like now?
Like if I was...
Like 20 years from now, what does your life look like? What do you imagine?
What do you want it to look like?
What do you imagine?
I thought you were saying if you were looking at your life now.
Yeah, I was looking. I was thinking like when I'm 20 years older, like what would this look like to me?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a really good one, yeah.
I mean, do you see yourself performing still like in front of an audience on stage night after night 20 years from now?
I don't know. Like, well, hopefully on like a bigger aspect, but at the same time, it's like it's not necessarily something that I don't like to do. I mean, I quit a job that I was making good money at, that I had like, you know, a 401k and like insurance and stuff, because I really did enjoy performing and stuff.
Thank you for sharing.
And then, you know, 20 years from now, maybe not be like on stage as much, but I also really enjoy directing. I just like being in the arts, like in general, especially when it comes to performance arts.
Open your own bar, bitch.
Like porn?
Girl.
I mean, that, you know what? That's performance art.
Yeah.
Like, Lana and I are two of the biggest hypersexual individuals in Kansas City. We love burlesque style. We love getting naked.
I have a studio that you could use.
The couch.
Is this right there?
Behind the scenes, you didn't see.
The casting couch.
The casting couch.
Where do I want to be in 20 years?
Yeah. 20 years.
So 20 years from now, I would love to still be an entertainer, whether that's like, you know, doing show.
She's meant to be on reality television.
Yeah, no, like my route, like I would like to.
Now.
I'm 23.
You'll be
oh my gosh! So in 20 years you'll be Wes's age.
Oh my god, yeah.
You'd be a real housewife.
Yeah. So like my goal,
my dream.
my goal would definitely be to like be like doing TV in some sort, and like just I don't know, like I don't know if I want to like be like a big public drag queen like figure. Like, do I want to be like a Rue girl, or do I want to be like a reality TV star? Do I want to be like? Do I want to have an OnlyFans and like do porn? Do I know I want to do something on a really big scale, but I want it to center around making people feel good. Whether that's beauty, whether that's doing performing. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm just spread out. But maybe 40s, I could maybe focus on relationship then.
I think that's somewhere that's very like you, honestly. And you know, I've kind of been thinking about this myself lately. The reason why I'm also looking at, you know, back of the house kind of stuff, like the producing and all that kind of stuff, is because eventually, like, what, apart from like the job and this and that, blah blah blah, I know this is like the worst fucking thing to say, especially growing up with someone that's like my age, like being, you know, used to watching Disney movies and shit like that. But I just really want to be happily traveling the world with my partner.
Oh, that's cute.
Like, I don't really, like, I'm not thinking about, you know, what job I'm doing with this, what that. It's just like finding that one person that I want to experience, you know, cultures and foods and like all these different things, like going to different places, and just with this one person that I'm meant to be with.
Oh, that's romantic.
So romantic.
It's so
I want that for
gross.
you.
I want that for you. Totally want that for you.
And I want you to have it just like that.
Yeah. You like it, I love it.
It sounds so gross, but I just like, you know, imagine, you know, being in like Bali or like, you know, going to New Zealand and like Cozumel and Belize.
Do you ever like think about like when you do acquire stuff like that and you have a partner and you are traveling, would you think about like, you know, still performing in those places or doing something on that aspect? Or
Sure, I mean, sure. Sure, like when I'm traveling those places.
So she'll be a dance mom.
Our children.
She'll be texting me, Lana, what's new? What are you doing? I hope you're killing it.
You got a work there.
Me and Bay are in Rome.
Love you from Italy. XOXO. I mean, yeah, like I imagine so, but like, it's funny to think about like the people that are, you know, extroverts being on stage and stuff when you don't actually realize that most of those people are actually in fact introverts.
Yes.
Like for people in our community, especially like in like our age range, not yours specifically because you're a little young, but like our age range, you know, like we went through a lot of things of, you know, trauma that made us kind of like want to just like put everything in that almost made us introverts. But then, you know, doing something like drag and being on stage is something to like kind of like combat that and express yourself outwards. But at the same time, I've always just kind of been, you know, private, and I just, you know, I want to live a good life with my partner. So if you're out there,
follow my fans out.
/ Candice Marie KC for $69.69 a month.
What is your take on the experience on like the trajectory of like what drag has become? Because I feel like, you know, in the past few years that I've, you know, been watching stuff, and especially with stuff coming out like Legendary and Pose, I feel like that definitely has had an influence on like what drag has become. You know, having to do virtual last year a lot like that. To me, it's changed a lot because I got to see a different side of all like the queens that had to like produce videos and do all these things. I was like, that's incredible. So like you see talent on stage, but then to see like these girls have like a lot of talent. Like, even on stage, they're not able to like display. It. Yeah, they're so smart and creative. So what do you think? Like, has maybe not globally, maybe even just Kansas City, has drag changed? Has the space for, you know, newer and younger queens coming up gotten better and easier? Because you said, you know, you had a fight at the very beginning where like I was fighting just to get a free booking. Like I couldn't even. Like how do you feel like that's from your beginning to now?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, there have been changes that have been done.
I still
drag. You know, sometimes they do. I'm supposed to be like going to like Whitman Air Force Base later this month to like perform.
Oh my god!
So like,
I hear about this.
I don't know if it's free or not, but I don't care. It's a new experience.
Bitch, I'm making her take me.
But like, you know, there's a lot of different types of differentiation when it comes to drag, not just like where we're at, but also like in the public scene. Because in the public scene, people are hiring drag entertainers for so many of the most random things. Like I have to do a baby shower in drag. Right?
How incredible! Like,
Right?
Like, can I book you for a baby shower or birthday?
I hosted a pool party like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
Like,
it was
weird.
are you doing? It's a gender reveal.
Like, it's just weird. But like, also like,
the new rock stars, bitch. We're rock stars.
but also as far as like this Kansas City drag in general, I feel like obviously there are some people who either stop doing drag or like past what they believe like is their prime, maybe never got to do what they wanted to, and I didn't want that to be something that we had to go through. And I think there's a lot more opportunities now, specifically for the up and coming people of color that are entertainers. And there's a lot of different types of shows as well that it's not even just limited to drag anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like a circus show, there's a live singing show, there's like there's so many different types
In the queer space.
in the queer space.
Yeah.
And I think not only did that create like an opportunity for other people, but also it's also our job as the people that are like hosting. Like Lana will open the door to us to whatever, like whoever wants to come up and be like, hey, like I'm gonna send you some stuff. Like I identify as a trans individual. Like, would you like to do my stuff? And she's like, hell yeah, you're in. Like I do my Sunday shows where I'm like, you know what? I only have 3 paid bookings, but I have 3 spots that don't have to be paid, and so they don't care who I book in those. Like I want to see your talent.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to come in and like show, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's just like more opportunity now, but I also feel like drag is like harder now.
What do you mean?
Like
What aspect?
I feel like it's just changed. Like one, you can actually make money off of drag.
It's a living.
It's like you can. There's money involved. There's an eye on our city. We've had like 2 like drag race girls, and that's put us all like that's a lot of goals for a lot of other queens. Like, do they want to be on Drag Race one day, or also drag being on RuPaul's Drag Race and all the spotlight on drag and social media? It's like, bitch, I gotta get a new costume, gotta have new hair, gotta have a new number, and people's attention spans went from being like, wow, this is a guy dressed as a woman, that's the fucking gag. Now it's like, what trick are you gonna do? What does your costume look like? What's the reveal?
Literally.
Like, where's the non-binary performer? Where's the black performer? Like, where is the like representation? Like, drag is a lot of different things. It's not just a man dressed as a woman anymore.
And it's not just pressure from like all the people that don't normally come to drag shows. It all comes from our own community, because we're being held to a standard of like, you guys are like the leaders now since you're like hosting these shows. Where's this? Like, you know what I mean?
Everything, but I think it's just been over time, because like with Drag Race, seeing certain queens like yourself and then going to the local bar and being like, why isn't there a queen like me there? Or why are they all... Well, like, why isn't there like an alternative girl? Why isn't there a trans person on the cast? Or why isn't there like a black entertainer? I've hoped for so long, or like watching Drag Race, I would get like kind of like seeing like even Mick on this season was like gaggy for me. Like, I'm not a trans man, but him like getting emotional about dysphoria was like huge for me, and to explain that on a global platform. So like I was like thankful for that, but. Like back to like having the drag, like seeing that on Drag Race, and then like say you go to a show and you don't get to see that. So I feel like the protest, social media, Drag Race, and just a lot of hungry bitches, it's really changed how it is.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, you talked about when you got into this leadership role, this opportunity to host, and you were like, you're coming with me. Anything that I'm booked on, you're booked on as well. Like, does somebody do that for you, or is that more of like you see that in?
I think that's what we do for each other.
That's what we do for each other.
Yeah, you're lifting up other.
And now we lift up others.
Of color, so
to be honest, when I first started, there were a lot of really mean people. A lot of people don't know this, but the first time I was ever like on a stage was when I was like 21, 22, and I quit that same day because of all the negative things that were said to me, and in the dressing room, and it didn't. It took me
not even on the floor, like
by
other queens.
It took me another 8 years.
White queens.
Yeah.
That
shocking.
That tracks, bitch.
honestly took another 8 years until I, stepped on stage again. And even then, people were still mean. But at that point, I was only doing it once a month, and it was for charity, so I didn't really care what people said about me. Like, remember the once a month show that I used to do for?
Candyland?
No, it was before that one.
Also, 2 questions on that. Are those queens still performing, and do you ever see them?
Yes. Are they?
Question.
Oh, the ones that were rude from like 8 years ago.
Yes.
No, the majority of them are not around anymore.
You see that?
Not around, like they died, or like they don't do drag more, or they don't live here.
Bit of both.
All of them. But yeah, when I first started, people really weren't nice to me either. And the first people that I felt some genuine care from were Mulan and Monique. They were the 2 people that were like, come over here. Like, I remember Monique like bringing me to A to Z and was like, okay, let's get you a new foundation color.
Also, I feel like I was a big supporter. I mean, I had t-shirts made when you were
You did on Survivor!
You were a huge fan.
But that was after. You know what I mean? That was after. That's when people started like actually getting to like see me. Like when I first started, it was literally her and Mulan. I remember Mulan being like, I'm gonna make you my project. And then, eventually from there, Widow definitely was like, hey, get into Survivor, do this, do that. And then being at Woody's, when you were working there, like helped everyone to like get to know like who I was doing Survivor and all
we
that
had
kind of
these
stuff.
shows, like,
And then doing the free shows that Iman Michaels was hosting over at Missy B's. Like I would go over there, and she told me, you know what, you have an open door. Anytime you want to come in, you just come in and you go and you perform. And I was like, okay.
Awesome.
Like so, there are a lot of there's a lot of support in the city, but the commonality of the support that I got from the city were from individuals that were people of color. It was always the white people that were in charge that always wanted to keep the power for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something that I wanted. That's not something that I wanted for my community and where I'm at, like as my job, as my livelihood, and all that kind of stuff. And so when we started getting some more freedom in who we could like book and all that kind of stuff, like literally Lana and I just kind of like linked chains, and then before you knew it, it was just more and more of us were
because Candice
together.
got me in like my first show, like because she like I'd seen like 2 Candylands at that point, like I had just got back from like my boob job and stuff. And me and Candice just headed off. She said, do you want to perform? Then next thing you know, this bitch, we're in our living room she's choreographed shit, rehearsed, and then like, then it was like, cause like, she had like her Sunday night show, but like literally like there wasn't a lot of bookings, and then she had trivia, so then it was like, hey Lana, like, obviously I can't pay you a lot, but like, do you want to come do a number at trivia? And so like getting to like do numbers at trivia with Candice, and then
eventually it was like here take
talk
the mic.
like here like, and then like us, and then eventually like I got a Sunday show, and I was like, bitch, I'm putting you in it, and like then fucking Mulan was in it, and like Candice being like, come over to Mulan's, and then me and like all of us hanging out, and then like Survivor, and like Widow, and that opportunity, and like all of those things got more people to see me, and like because one person of color grabbing you and being like, bitch, da 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 da, it all led to that, because then it really was that for Candice. Like Candice now is like one of the first people I would call, or Mulan, or Scarlett, or Harrier, any of those people, but like Candice specifically, and like all those things, because it's like I know. One, she's professional. Like, one, look at the things she's done for me, and the opportunity, and like the leader. You know what I mean?
No, you did that all.
Well, yes, but you know what I mean. Like I know I can like call you and a handful of these other people, because I know that like they can do it, and like they deserve to be seen.
Go ahead.
I think for me personally, it's just like watching the differentiations of the old generation of drag, where everyone was very much against each other, where it was clawing each other to get to the top spot, so that you can get the most bookings or this or that, which is I think which is I think the reason why drag now has changed, because the way that everyone is viewing Kansas City drag right now is the fact that there's like we're not doing it as individuals. The reason,
like a whole.
yeah, we're a whole. Like especially our generation of drag, and that's why I think a lot of the people are just like, "Whoa, this is weird and this is different." Because I like, you know, the powers to be are just, you know, looking at one individual. It's like if it affects one of these individuals, it affects all of them.
Yes. I love that you're saying that, because what I was thinking is that, you know, the lesson, because I'm all about what's a lesson we can learn from this. The lesson for those white queens was that if you would have shared your power, you could have
been more
powerful with everyone else too. Like, you all are powerful now.
And this could have happened a long time ago.
A long time ago. There's no reason to fight within each other. Like,
but nobody's gonna change that, because like how long has it been that it's been like this?
Right.
And you know the reason why there are like houses in general is, you know, because you want to feel that familiarity of like, you know, whether it's kids that get like kicked out or like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different reasons why there are houses, but like the main priority of a house is that you feel like you're with family, because family is a feeling. Relatives are blood. You're like the people that are related to you.
Yeah.
And family is a feeling. The reason why you have a house is to have a family, and that's I think what we finally created in the you know city.
Like more sense of like family.
Yeah, and you know that stemmed from people like, you know, like Mulan and Malta and Iman, like they were the ones that were like seeing us.
And you feel it's made your drag better? Like that you've come into your own better because of that support?
Oh yeah.
Are you kidding?
That was like a leading question.
Well, now you have.
I know y'all remember how we looked like pre-GB Couture.
You know, you can just look below and all the pictures of Candice.
But no, it's like nice now having like people be like, "Hey, fix this," or "This doesn't look right," in a sense of, and not in a way of like, "You're a fucking busted ass bitch," but
right.
like we're like kind of like helping each other grow and like
it's in a non-malicious way
and helping get opportunities.
Helping younger queens come up. Yeah.
And you know, it's just like a true like sisterhood. Like, you know, Jaharia will come up to me and be like, "Hey, look, I sewed this," and I'll be okay. Let me see the inside of that. You know, it's to push each other to make sure that you get to like the levels that you want to be at together. Because if you're all shining, if all these individual lights are all together, it's a brighter.
Right. If you're all eating, you're all gonna be full.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like you're
100%.
only as strong as your like weakest link or
Right.
whoever's.
No, that's so true.
Whether you know, like the sewing or like, bitch, I'll be like, bitch, let me do your makeup. Or I'll take them to Sephora and I'll be like, here's that. But you know, doing others' makeup or waxing their brows, or just like helping people get their shit.
And plus, it's just fun because you get to spend time with people that have the same interests as you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand the reason why everyone was so against each other. Like, Lana and I were just like.
And like you feel safe, like with Candice getting opportunity, I feel safe. Or with one of our girls getting a big opportunity, you feel safe and you feel like, yeah, I know they're going to consider me, but I know they have my best interests at heart. Like I hope when people see Candice host, or if they see me host, or when I see Widow host, or even when I see Genoa host, when I know like I feel safe and I feel like protected, and I feel like I'm gonna get. Where they have my best interest in all of us at heart, as opposed to how things used to be or whatever. Like, I hope people can count on me to be like, one, I feel like I can come up to Lana about a show idea, or if I want people to feel like they can come up to us, you know, and when we succeed, it's not a bitterness, it's a, yes, they're going to do great, and I know, like, they'll hear me out and they'll hear us out.
And that was one of our biggest things with each other, too. It's like being the in-between of like the separated drag into like the more communal drag now. We were in between what was happening, and to be honest, it was so annoying for us to be like, I can't tell who's legitimately happy for me and who's not. Like it's hard to tell, like, is this person just bitter? Or is this person really celebrating my success? But with the two of us and, you know, people like Mulan, like we never felt that way. It was always like that familiar, like, oh my God, you did something, bitch. Like, let's go celebrate. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, I'm happy
Yeah.
for you. And then it's like, bitch, what do we gotta get you, girl? Like, let's, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. They're lifting you up.
And it's cool, like, being in that in-between, because it's like, your voice can pass on to those people in power because you're listening to your other people who are in the same spot you were. Like,
Well, I'm gonna ask a question. Okay. It's gonna be like real quick off the top of your head. Who wants to go first?
Oh,
I'll go.
you go.
Okay, ready?
Please.
It can be anywhere globally, family, people you know. Top 3 people that you think are role models that you look up to. I told you it's gonna be a hard question.
I
Oh,
know.
great.
I mean, I don't have to have like, you know.
It can be 5.
There's no like time limit, is there?
Yeah, you have 14 seconds. And it doesn't have to be in order, like, you know,
Just
whatever the
name-
3, yeah, just
Yeah.
name 3. It doesn't
Just
have to be in
3
order.
people
There's no order.
in general.
That you think are role models that you look up to. It could be someone famous, it could be family members, it could be a sister, it could be like, you know, local, global.
I have 3, and they're kind of like all really like different. The first one that I'm gonna say is something that someone would expect of me to say. I would say someone like Angelina Jolie, because she's fucked up a lot in her life. But, you know, at the end of the day, she got her shit together. She is like helping not just herself but other people, and she has a love and care of like children, which I do also.
She just came out with a new movie on Netflix.
It's pretty good. I wanted more action from her, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, she wants to take it easier with her body.
I wanted her to kick more ass. I was like, kick more ass, bitch.
What's
But I
the
stand.
movie?
Tomb Raider. It's called For Those Who Wish
Salt.
Me Dead.
Yeah, for those
Yeah,
who
for
wish
those
me
who wish me
dead.
dead.
You watched it
She
too?
said
Tomb Raider.
Yes.
Well, I wish she was fighting more, but it's fine.
But you know, like the reason why is because like you see someone like that who, you know, was ridiculed when they were younger, that make mistakes and all that stuff, but like they own the mistakes and they grow from it, and they turn into someone that, you know, they want other people to be able to look up to, and I do look up to her, and that's kind of silly. My second one is my mother. She is the biggest fighter I've ever known. She is
Like Street Fighter.
that too.
Oh my God.
But like, you know, as a person who, you know, had children with their partner not being around, and then having to like, as much as I adore like kids, I could never imagine like leaving my children for 5 years and moving to a different country just so I could support them back home. Like, that's crazy to me. And all the things that she has had to go through as like an illegal here, and I mean, obviously everyone's gonna say their mom, but I have, you know.
Well, I would say your mom, but
I would.
I also don't know her mom, so.
But it's definitely, second one's definitely my mother. And the third one is who I consider my drag mother, which is Muwan. She is the type of person in this industry that, honestly, one of the only reasons why I wanted to keep doing it. There was a point in time when, you know, I had quit my job, lost my, you know, benefits, and got my car repossessed. And she,
I remember.
and she was just like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like I was stoning an outfit for a movie. Literally, I'm like, "I'm fine." And then she's like, "Okay." And then she like turns off her machine and her light, and she's like, "How are you doing?" And literally it was just a mountain of fucking tears, but like all the things that I learned from her, like not just in hair and makeup and costuming, because now I know how to sew because of her. Like it's not just those things that help me become like more presentable or do better like in drag on stage, but also just as a better person in general, because she shows you that it's okay to, you know, have faith in other people and you know, to let them grow with you and to help other people. There's no reason to be, you know, jealous of W, X, Y, and Z, because if she's the one that taught me, like, multiple lights shine brighter together than they do individually. And that's what she told me. She was like, yeah. She was like, I'm very happy, you know, with everything that you guys have done, because like, look at what you guys are doing. And honestly, like every time that someone mentions greatness of the drag that has been going on, like with me specifically, I'll always tell them, think Mulan. And then when I say that, when she's around me, she's like, no, I didn't do anything. You did everything. It's giving someone the ingredients, and it's how you make the food.
Like taking that ownership,
Yeah.
like you put in the work, you put in the time. They were your support, but you made it happen.
Yeah, and not just in drag, but as a person. Like, she's literally one of like the nicest, most caring people I know. Bibs, Mulan, and Angelina.
All right, $1 million Luxx.
Should I follow that format? Like,
It's
celebrity oneness of the
No, it's all you.
Well, I mean, to piggyback off of Candice, I will say, like, Mulan has to be in my top 3 as well. I think Mulan is so amazing. But I feel like Candice ties in that too, but for obvious reasons. But I feel like I've just learned so much. Obviously, when it comes to, like, being an entertainer and, like, drag and all of those things. But I think when it just comes to, like, being a person, and she's opened my eyes to a lot of bigger pictures. And I really respect, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but she reminds me, not because of her age, bitch, I know you'll be watching this, but she really, like, makes me feel, like, close to my grandma, because, like, my grandma coming, like, from Japan, and, like, I remember all the things we got to do when I was little, and, like, growing up, and blah, 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 but then she passed away senior year, like, right before I went homecoming, right before I started transitioning, and so, but she, like, always knew. She, like, started calling me she before, like my grandma did. Whatever, she passed away, and, like, I was a, like, full-time cheerleader, like, playing volleyball in high school, like, I didn't really get to, like, enjoy my grandma as much as I wish I could have when I was older. And Mulan is so important to me and stuff, because, like, I feel like I'm getting to appreciate, like that, you know what I mean?
Their culture?
Yeah, like, I can appreciate, like, my culture, and, like, but, like, obviously her being Filipino, I get to learn about her culture, and I get to, like, she cooks the authentic stuff for me, just like my grandma,
She
like,
really does.
I, like,
She's like our mom.
and, like,
I'd like to be invited to that dinner.
yeah,
Thank you.
she's like a mom.
She invited you, will be in my top 3 too.
Yeah, literally.
She, like, makes you work, and then after you work, like, she'll be cooking in the kitchen, and we'll
she
get
teaches
food.
you lessons,
Yeah.
and, like, it's
Incredible.
like, no, and it's like, I get to have that, what I had with my grandma. Like, my mom was, like, always working and going through her own struggle, and, my grandma was the one there for me, and, like, Mulan's, like, another, like, mother of, like, I don't know, she's just there, and it's, like, she reminds me so much of, like, my grandma, like, what I, like, so I think of her as, like, what did I want to ask my grandma, like, what could I have gotten from her when I was older, because she did pass when I was 17.
Where's all the jewelry?
Right. But, so yeah, she just reminds me of my grandma, and she reminds me of, like, home and, like, safe space, and, like, she's taught me so many things with life and drag and everything, so it just means a lot to me. And then I'll have to say my biological mother and my sister, I feel like they count as, like, one or whatever. I don't know. They're both really key. Like, my mom is, like, a single parent who has come from... She's had some of her fair share of bumps along the way, but, like, she really did fight to, like, get better and make sure I had something. But alongside of her was my sister, too, like, raising me. We're 16 years apart, and we both have different dads. But she was there, like, when my mom was, working 3 jobs. She was there taking care of me during her. And I'm 23 now, and, like, she has 2 kids, and, like, sometimes I'm like, should I, like, be with them all the time? Because she was always with me when, like, my mom couldn't be. And sometimes I feel this guilt. She's like, no. She's like, you get to be young. But I'm like, oh, my God. Like, she gave me her, like, childhood to take care of me. And then, like, when my mom was busting her ass to figure out how to take care of me. So I'm just like... they're both so amazing because they were both, like, moms, yet, like, she's a sister, and la 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 la, and they're just so amazing, and, like, supported me as, like a gay child, a queer child, and then into becoming a woman, and, like, they're just everything. And then lastly, my Lord and Savior Taylor Swift. I know, very cliche.
Shout out.
Yes, I am a Taylor Swift stan, and I Her music has gotten me through everything, and I look up to.
Do you want to be a part of her pack?
Yeah, that pack is old and tired, and that's the thing. But I just am like, yeah, I just look up to that, and I want to like do those things. Like I feel like she's like made a lot of changes in the music industry, and she's always fought for like artist rights and like going against iTunes, going against Scooter Braun, and like standing up for women. And I just been a lot of things, and like I want to be that. Like I want to be. Bitch, I want to be sweeping all those titles, and I want to be giving voices to other people, and I want to like. Bitch, I want to be that. But also still remain, like, humble and kind and, like, just sweet and, like, just kill it. And, like, rule the world. But when people are like, bitch, you're that girl. Like, you're an icon. Be like, oh, no. Like, what about someone? Like, she's...
You're an icon.
Yeah, she's everything. I stand.
Favorite Taylor Swift song?
Favorite?
Yeah, favorite. Like, what's your go-to, like, that it pulls you together? Like, you're...
There's so many. Honestly, the first thing that comes to my mind is like Enchanted from Speak Now, or
I'm gonna listen to that after.
Enchanted, bitch, or like Fearless, or just the whole, anything Reputation, anything Reputation.
Yeah.
That album speaks to me, but folklore, everything, bitch. Lately, I've been feeling Happiness. That song gets me. The One. Sorry, there's a lot. That's too hard of a question. I wrapped it up. Sorry.
Wes, do you want to answer this? You're such a
I want to know your.
Oh, yeah, I actually don't have role models. Yeah, I've never had a role model. I've never looked up to anybody. I've never done anything like that. Yeah. I've always...
really?
Yeah, seriously. Like, I've... more... Not on, like, a self-starter or anything along those lines. I've just been more about finding that self-empowerment within myself to do something. Like, I'm doing it for me and not doing it because I'm, you know... It's not like when someone talks about their role models, I'm like, what is that like? Like, I've never experienced
Do you want that? Like, have you wished for that?
No, which is probably why it's even harder for me to understand it.
I don't guess he wishes on that.
Well, there's also kind of like a thing when they say role models, like automatically the thing that you think of are like, you know, people that are older than you that you look up to. When Lana was talking about her sister, it kind of just like made me think a little bit, because my sister is only like a year older than me, depending, because you know you're at the age whether she's like 1 or 2 older than you. And to be honest, like she has literally been the only thing constant in my life, like from when I was born until now. My sister is the only one that has stayed in my life the whole time, and I consider. Well, I'm pretty sure my family considers it too, but I consider myself the black sheep of the family, and she's always the one that's, you know, constantly like on the fence, on this, on that, and every time that like, I ever fucked up, she was the one to like bail me out of it. And it's kind of like weird to think that she's only like a year or 2 older than me.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you're talking about like that, I was thinking maybe I've done more of the route of like inspiration or inspirational.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, these people inspire me. Yeah. So do you have inspiration?
I would say, like Larry Kramer is somebody who has inspired me. Like I always stay a little bit angry. I'm always a little bit fired up about something, because you're not going to impact change. You're not going to make a difference if something isn't pushing you that discomfort level to be like, I don't like the way this is. It needs to change. Like, so I would say definitely Larry Kramer would be like somebody that's inspirational in that sense.
That's like good, because I could see like not having a role model, because I think it is a little fucked, like how people like idolize things, like how people, you know, like role model or idol, you know what I mean?
Well, Larry Kramer would say, don't fucking idolize me.
That was really into my second question. I wanted to ask, you know, like what does a role model mean to you? What does that think? Because I wanted to go into, you know, especially in this community being local and stuff, like if you are part of the scene or like coming into it, like people know both of you. Like you guys are kind of at that platform where like people could view you as an inspirational role model. So I wanted to know like what that looked like for you, and also like how you handle that. Do you think of yourself as inspirational or role model? Like does that ever cross your mind? I mean, obviously you said, you know, you've done some major things, and like, I mean, you're young anyways, but you're...
Why people come up, they're like, I follow you on TikTok.
But
also like cringing, like, what? Really?
Yeah, like in your...
Don't fuck what I did yesterday.
In your younger days too, like you had kind of a historical moment that, you know... I mean, do you want to share what that is, or can we talk about that?
So my senior year of high school, I started transitioning my junior year of high school, like medically, like starting hormones. But I went into my senior year, so senior year. So I got nominated for Homecoming Queen by my peers, which I never thought was going to be possible, because what? Like, the school, I felt like easily they could have just solved that in the ballot because they counted privately. Could have been like, we can't do that. No. Because there's jokes where they try and put like actual boys' names in it and that happens and it's like, no, duh. So the fact that they like saw my name because one of the peers voted and it happened and I wasn't even like campaigning. It was truly because I was involved and I feel like I was a good person to people and I was involved or whatever and people saw that and whatever. This is like, again, it is high school, so it's not like a big deal. But so anyway, to like get nominated.
It's a big deal. That was a big deal. It's still a big deal.
It ended up being a big deal. But to get nominated and like feel seen and then the school like recognize me for the woman I am. And then to end up winning, because I was just happy to be up. I was truly gagged. I literally didn't think that would be possible. To be up, I was like, bitch, if I don't win, because there was like other girls that were just as deserving. And I was like, and then some who were hateful bitches who made me feel like shit.
Name names.
Lost.
Right. Name names.
Right. So
they play your yearbook.
Sarah, Megan, Rachel.
No. So like, so I was like contending that if I didn't win, but the fact that I won and with some backlash, it was like, this is like such a much bigger picture. Like, if I win, what this will do, what this means, this is a moment. Like, that was what it was for me. And I was like, I want to make history. I want this to be a big deal. And like, I want to make change. And obviously I won and I went viral and like having celebrities like retweet you and post you like George Takei and like another fellow Asian man, or not man, but Asian person now. But like repost me and like just like that, and then like I got a call from Ellen, but I didn't go.
Whoa.
I didn't get on, bitch. I'm pissed. They put damn Daniel on. If you're watching this, I'm mad.
Damn
Wow.
Daniel.
Whatever. But anyway,
White sneakers, whatever.
but I got to like speak at Harvard, and like I got like all these cool opportunities, and that was like the key start to like having the platform and followers because of winning. And sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I wouldn't have been up and I could have just transitioned in peace and no one really knew who I am and who knows what that would have been like. But yeah, it like just it happened and now people like look up to me. And then since then I've had other moments and videos and I like upload to YouTube and I do TikToks and I've had other moments in my life go viral and I have 230,000 followers on TikTok now and almost 35,000 on Instagram. So it's like hard for me to know that there's people that literally watch my stuff and like literally at Mary's Thursday night, this like kid came up to me and was like, oh my God, like literally got into tears meeting me and was like, I follow you. And was like, I'm like, babe, like, do you want me to follow you back? Like, let me follow you. And it's a lot.
She's like, I didn't, but I asked you.
But it's fucking gaggy. And like, but then it's also like scary that I'm like, oh my God. And then it's like, fuck, I don't ever want to say the wrong thing. I need to always be on. Like a couple of weeks ago, like I was like rushing to find my friend who came into town for What's the Tea. Like she like left out the door and we were like going and like leaving the show and I'm like rushing out and the door to Missy's was just open. So I just rolled right out. I'm like, Sophia, like where'd you go? And like grabbed her and I left. And then later someone made a status and was like, Landon, you're a fucking bitch. Like I held the door for you and you were rude to me. La 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 la.
There's all this expectation.
Yeah, and I literally had no idea that someone was holding the door. Because one, I'm truly an Aquarius. I am aloof as fuck. I'm so unaware and in my own bubble. But literally, I was like racing out to find my friend, and Missy's is a cramped psycho place, and I literally just thought the door was cracked. But like this person genuinely thought I was like rude to them, and then tried to do that, and I was like messaging them like, oh my God, like I truly had no like. You know, and then they apologized and was like, wow, I'm so psycho. I'm sorry. I just look up to you. You're like Lady Gaga to me. And I'm like, what the fuck? Gaga. But you know, like, it's really crazy to think, like, people really think that of me. So it's really hard because, one, I don't think of myself that way. So sometimes I really am like, bitch, you really need to start uploading more. And you need to start acting like that bitch because people really are watching you and want to know. Like, you really are that girl. But then other parts of me are like, I'm just like you. Like, I really don't know what's going on. So just like, why are you looking up to me? I'm a mess.
Trying to live my life.
So it's just hard. It's a crossroad. And it is a lot. I don't know.
So I have a question. And this may be, like, it may be where you don't feel comfortable revealing it.
Yeah.
Something like that. So.
Oh God, I'm scared.
I know.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, go on.
What's an insecurity that you have that you just haven't overcome?
Oh, we're getting like real vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think it's a really good question for.
You just spoke a lot. We'll go to Candice.
I can't answer that question right now.
Why? How about now?
No. It's, you know, like when you're still trying to figure certain things out, like within yourself, there's, you know, you can't really tell people certain things if you haven't found the correct
Right answer.
you know, thing that's happening to you personally. Because, you know, you could say, oh, yeah, it's, you know, this way, and then 2 days later it might not feel the same, and you'd be like, damn, I feel really stupid for saying something like that. You know what I mean?
No, because that's
Like
very vague
something
book.
like this.
It's a little vague book, so
Yeah,
Well, you're not going to get a bigger answer.
That's where I look at the post, I like screenshot, and it'll say, "Hey, can you believe this person's a big book?" I'm like, why? Why are you gonna post this?
While you think, because on whatever you're, I feel like I shared some, like, you know, sometimes I have those insecurities of like not being like Asian enough or random things like that, or a lot of my stuff like stemmed with like trans stuff, like, and like some vain things like, oh, like, do I look feminine enough, or all those things, or is my voice like too deep, like all those little things. But some really deep things that I struggle with and have affected me that I'm insecure about is like I don't know. I'm so proud to be trans, and I'm so happy to be like trans, because I think our journeys are fucking unique and crazy, and like we've fought so hard for our womanhood. It wasn't, you know, like I'm so proud of it, but like it's also made me think some of the like hardest things. Like I've like genuinely come to terms with like, am I gonna get married ever? Like, am I gonna find someone who loves me? Am I ever gonna like find like a man who doesn't make me feel like shit because I can't like give birth to a child? Like, am I ever gonna find a man who will 100% be content with me and my body and not be like, I want you to get this surgery, or oh, don't get that surgery? Like, am I ever just going to be like, will I ever find love? You know, and I've literally, that's like a big insecurity of mine, even though I've found love and I've experienced love. But there's always these things, I don't know, and I really feel like I came content with being like 45 and having a boyfriend in a different state every month than truly just my love, like my best friends are my soulmates kind of vibe, and my work is my love. But like that's like a big insecurity I have sometimes is like, am I like woman enough for society, for these men, for people? Like it's hard seeing articles every day about like, you know, like the shit going on in the UK and the shit going on in the US and like transgender laws changing and like how people, and like having social media and having people openly comment like you're fucking disgusting, or like ew, you're mentally ill, like just all those things, and seeing it really happen in your world, and then just being like, is it always gonna be like that? Like I don't know, a lot of insecurity just comes from trans, whether it's the looks or the safety or whatever.
And I think that's the difference between, like, even though we are very similar in a lot of like ways, the difference is like, I think Lana is very comfortable with being public about all of these kind of stuff and having followers and this and that. I'm more of a very private person, and for me, my biggest insecurity isn't, am I letting other people down? Because at the end of the day, I don't give a shit about other people. Like, you know, like you can think whatever you want about me, and I'm not gonna give a shit. Like the opinion that matters to me are the opinions of the people that are close to me. Specifically, my 2 baby nephews. Mm-hmm. So my biggest insecurity is I'm not gonna be a good enough role model for them. Like, because I know my sister and I went through like hell and back, like, you know, moving and doing, like, going through certain struggles, and for them, like they're my babies.
Yeah.
Like I'm I don't want to let them down. I want to make sure they want for nothing. Like I don't want them to go through the struggles that like we did. So for me personally, it's the people that are close to me. Like that's my biggest insecurity, is if I'm not going to be enough for them. That's like my babies.
I would say that I don't really have role models either, and I don't even have people that inspire me. But I think the most people that inspire me the most, and that I would be my friends, but also people that are, you may not be the most glamorous or have the most money or the coolest job or the best place to live, but the people that are like the most authentic.
Authenticity.
Yeah, everything.
And you know,
Yes.
And my nephew the other day, I'm gonna cry. My nephew the other day had his little camera and was like, I'm gonna interview you for a second, okay? I'm like, okay. And he's like, he had like with his little camera being like, so what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a drag performer. Where at? These places. So what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I dance, do this, do whatever. And dress up as a girl doing it. And so you do drag, right? And then I'm like, yep. And he's like, that's what I tell my friends that you do. And so like proud about it.
That's awesome.
That is incredible.
Like,
That's how you got that baby shower booking.
Yeah.
Right there. That's how they interview out. Got you. Book your butt.
it's just like, someone being so young and just like understanding it and being so proud of like what I do.
And it truly shows that hate is taught.
Yeah, it does.
Hate isn't
Because,
just
like,
us, it's taught.
Because my nephews have asked for the longest time, and my sister is like this incredibly smart she works with a lot of like, kids and adults with disabilities and stuff. So she knows how to talk to people in general.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the children started asking her, like, why does Gungle do this? Like blah blah blah. Like she has the correct answers for them.
Yeah.
And
that's cool. That's
why my nephews are so like open-minded, and they know, it doesn't matter who you love. Like at this age, like they're already taught and they already know. And honestly, they don't care. When you're that age, when you're that age, honestly, it's like, like you could. I feel like the majority of the reasons why people get into like all these different stigmas and troubles and all that kind of stuff is because we don't talk to the kids enough about it. If you just told them about it, they wouldn't be so like curious to try and do whatever it is.
Or they reflect,
you know what I mean?
or they like reflect like the parents' like opinions, and that's like, because I remember, I started getting bullied in like second grade for being like, oh, you're gay or you're feminine. But like that's like a big insecurity. I have like my sister and like my niece and nephew, they don't know that I'm trans. Like we haven't had that conversation with them which I've gotten like really emotional about. So like it makes me like sad. Like I won't like, like I'm really like I've had like I cried to my mom one day because like I'm really scared to like tell them, and like they're only gotten older so quick. Like my niece Gianna is like 8 years old, and like when we hang out, like I'm over here like doing her hair and like sleepover, she like loves me so much, and like Joe's like 3 or 4, and like when we play, like when me and Gianna are doing Barbies or whatever, he said those are for girls, and I'm like, no, like they're for everyone, blah 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 blah. And I'm just thinking to myself like, what am I gonna do? And like I tell them and I want to tell them soon since they're so young, so it'll be easy, and then they can like stand up for really good things while they're little. But then I'm over here like what if they like freak out or like don't accept me or something, and it's scary. And like my sister told me, like, she's like, we haven't told them because I feel like that's your journey, like that's your business, we want you to be able to do that. But they like, they're like in Catholic school and like all these things, and I'm scared to like tell them, like they're in like a little private school, I'm scared to tell them that, and then like them go back to school and say like, oh, this, because like, so she goes like, my niece, she's 8 years old now, and like she was over one time and my friend Brock was over, and he is very like he's gay. And he's a dance instructor.
He's a
very
let's premise this.
He's gay, and like he is very like open,
like
with his
1 to 10. It's like over the rainbow.
Where and like so my niece, when he and we showed her this like his videos dancing because she wants to dance, and then like she saw this video of us, whatever, and then like she left. She's like, she talked to me, and like, what's Brock to Landon? And she's like, oh, they're just friends, they're best friends, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, then she like went home and started YouTubing like Brock's dancing videos and like me and Brock's video of us together, like hanging, like dancing. And then I like had this thing to me, and I was like, she could literally like YouTube my name and all my transition stuff would be there.
Yes.
And I'm scared, I want to be the one to tell her
she's
first.
8 years old?
Yeah.
I don't feel like you should be like have that much access to YouTube.
Well,
On the Roku.
Yeah.
Well, they corrected her.
Yeah, there's a lot of different filtering systems.
Yeah, there is, but still,
Because,
I remember
like,
being
my
young and
nephew-
finding shit.
Yeah, but that was when internet was born. Like, I understand what you're saying.
But they can still find a way.
Like, I was like looking at porn sites and I was
Bored.
but
So
like,
was I.
but like now, especially with like versions of like YouTube Kids and this and that, and like the way you can lock phones and stuff. Like there's a lot of different ways.
I know,
to
but
break
still, like she'd be taking my
She could
sister's
take a friend's phone
phone
or
or something.
something.
I get so nervous. I'm like, I
But
don't want her
let me
to find
ask you this
out.
though, because that's really interesting that you. I mean, I know you felt this way because we've talked about this, but I've never like actually said this to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's so interesting that you are so powerful when it comes to 300,000 fucking people to telling them to fuck off.
Or
And
tell them my dirtiest secrets of
and
my
then
transition.
You have the two people that are, like your babies, like my babies.
Because it would hurt to let down all my followers, I guess. But like to let down your like fam, like to let down them, or like to feel judgment from them, like that would hurt.
Well, also, like, think about it too, like, if it's your family and they love you, like, they could also be probably the strongest warriors and, people that are young.
I know,
teach
that's
their
what I mean.
class and, like, open those doors for conversations to normalize.
I mean, that's why I want to tell them young so they can like be those kids that are. Because I was that kid. Like my mom had a gay friend, Wayne Potter, who works at Missy B's. Like I remember being like that was like the first gay person I saw and like heard about, and like I remember like not giving a shit and like getting in trouble one day for saying the word gay and talking about a gay person. Like that's probably not appropriate. And I was like, why? Like, who gives a fuck?
That also came from my insecurities, though, when I would call
Right.
people gay all the time. But then I was like,
But yeah, like I just want to tell her
that wall up.
before she finds out, if she does, because she would before him, and like I don't want her to feel lied to, because oftentimes people paint trans people into tricking people, or I feel lied to, or you deceived me, and like I just don't want her to feel that way. And like we're already so close, and like I love her, and I just want to like be able.
well,
to
if I can be honest with you, I do have a trans individual in my family, my aunt in the Philippines, but I never really like knew or understand what that was about. And to be honest, it wasn't until you that I actually got more involved into what being like a trans individual is. But I mean, in this case, a trans woman, and to be honest, like you were the one that like pretty much like opened my eyes to it, and I think if you can do that for someone who's like older, I think it'd be
much
you're older.
older.
That's so real.
You say much older?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, and that's my thing. Like, I do that to so many people. I don't know. That's just like the one thing in my life right now that I'm actually like something I was like insecure about, like, or I'm scared of, is to like, because I haven't had to really come out to like. I mean, I already overcame coming out to my mom and my sister and my family. So like, to them, I'm like, oh shit. That's like I'm having to do it again, and I don't have to do that often. I mean, I felt that fear when I like apply for new jobs and like get into new spaces, or like when I'm at a straight bar, obviously. But like that's how I'm feeling. Like it's just scary to come and like tell people those things, and you value their like opinion.
Yeah. And they're loved.
And that's why I do all of the public stuff and continue to do it. Is
That's
to help.
incredible too. I mean, like queer people helping queer people, and like
Yeah.
it's because
Because if you think about it,
you didn't have probably somebody walking you through everything.
I was watching
and
like
you
YouTube.
and you had to find all these people and these doctors and these professionals and like.
Well, I was gagged finding the
out.
drag scene too. Like now to like I've gotten emotional. Like me and like Trayshawn have had conversations, and she was telling me like what it was like to be a trans woman like 20 years ago in KC, and like some of the like the scary situations she's been in, and just like living authentically 20 years ago, 30 years ago. This is a story she was telling me.
That's
I was
the
like,
90s, in case you're wondering.
bitch, I was gagged, and I was like, oh.
This is cut.
But I was fucking gagged. Like I was just like,
Yeah.
bitch, you're so fucking strong and fearless to just like.
I think all
You know.
trans individuals are probably some of the strongest in our rebel
You have to be.
family.
Yeah. I mean, the world is so pushed against you, even within your own community. You're the last.
Well, yeah,
letter.
'cause
You
it's
were-
like-
I feel like being queer, like we're, proud all the time. But, a lot of people celebrate in June. What does that mean to you? What does pride mean to you?
Such a good question.
Like this specific month and celebrating it, or what is
Pride in
the
general.
word
Pride.
pride?
What
Yeah,
does that
what
mean
does
to you?
pride mean to you?
Pride to me specifically is like living your truth and being your
This
most.
is like a pageant question. Sorry, just like pride to
Authentically.
me is
P-R-I-D-E.
My favorite statement.
Sorry, I'm raising my hand. but pride to me is truly like living authentic, and I think nothing is more, like you said, like we're saying, like nothing is more powerful than living your truth and being authentic. And I think pride is something important to have year round and help other people find their pride and like live their truth. And I truly think like authentic people are magnetic, and I feel like before someone says, oh my god, Lana's gorgeous, or before someone says like Lana's like a great drag queen or Lana is funny, like I really hope people are just like my strongest quality, I want it to be like my personality and my pride and my authenticity. And pride is like my number one. As someone like I don't know if I would word it as in pride, but like my authenticity, which I think is pride, is like my number one quality. I'm not gonna be like, oh my tits or my eyes are gorgeous. Like I'm like, I am authentic and I'm like that bitch. There you go.
And pride comes in a lot of different senses, I suppose. You know, it is about living authentically, but if you are not ready to come out, that's okay too.
Yes.
But you know, we're like, I think everyone in this table would agree that if ever you are ready and want to speak with any of us, we're here.
Yeah, we're here.
Your journey is your journey, so there's no time.
But we're waiting for
Time
you.
or place.
Yeah,
We're waiting for you.
and you know, and like for me, like pride is not just limited to like, you know, like a sense of identification or a sense of, you know, being part of like the rainbow community. It's also like pride of like who, like, because you know the original reason why we were here was also because of like the pride of like your heritage and who you are, like Asian Pacific Islander, like. But for this specific month, it is important to have this month for us, but also know that it's not just limited to this. You can be who you are all year round. And just because all the different companies are saying, hey, we celebrate you this 1 month to get your money, just know.
Like wear that skirt, like
I wish it's
dye
like
your hair.
Target, like having like rainbow like attire for us. I wish that like we could just be like, I'm gay, I need 50% off everything.
And
I need my gay discount.
Or a rainbow section year round.
Yes, that's
Oh
true.
yeah, so at least have it out. year round.
Or it doesn't even have to be rainbow, because sometimes that shit looks real tacky. At least have a section that's like, hey, a percentage of anything that you buy from this section goes towards this, and this.
Did you
Or-
hear that?
Yeah, or just like a fun gender neutral section of
Yeah.
no
Yes.
women, like just a who gives a
It's
fuck.
not a men or a women's section, it's just
It's
a
a
section.
Come in and shop.
These boots are for everyone. This top is
And
for
you know,
everyone.
10% of all your proceeds go to help like the
Yeah,
rainbow
it's for me.
community.
Oh.
But you know, I think there's a lot of different ways that you can identify of what like pride means to you. But like for me personally, it's I agree with Lana. It's about living authentically, but it's
Carefree.
living your truth with the people that are closest to you and around you, and living in a space that allows you to be safe.
Yes, like
Yes.
feeling safe and like, I feel like a lot of times in pride,
And
like
love.
you feel unstoppable. Like right now with all these posts and
Yeah.
all this stuff, it's like, bitch, I feel like unstoppable. I feel so proud to be queer. I just
Mhm.
feel like,
Yes.
you know, you just feel untouchable.
And to be honest, it is at the end of the day, pride is about celebrating love, because
Yes.
like as a human species, we're made to, you know, make love and break love, experience heartache, like experience like, you know, a lot of different types of love, which is all very valid in whatever way that you feel it. But it's just being able to feel that love from other individuals as well as having it for your own self,
Yes.
being proud of it.
Loves that.
And that's why I know.
That's why
From
I
your
should
Miss
be.
Gay Pride 2019 and your future Miss Gay Pride 2021.
And that's why I'm your 3-year reigning queen of pride.
Not the pandemic. I'm just a great person.
Well, peace.
World peace.
I think we should have more masks.
Well, peace.
More masks.
To find pride, you know?
I think we should wear all masks, like more masks.
But on my campaign, I'm handing out all bottom lashes.
But not 301s, because nobody looks cute with a bottom 301.
I don't even know what that is.
Numbers are hard, I get it.
It's a math equation.
I'm going to thank Candice
Yeah.
and Lana Luxx for joining us on this segment. Please be sure to check us out, share us. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for
Thanks for
having
having
us.
us.
Yes.
I feel like I could just talk to you guys like all night.
I know, I felt like it just became like we were all just kicking
Yeah,
and like having
for sure,
a good
for
time.
sure. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'm Ace.
I'm Wes.
I'm Lana Luxx.
Where can
And
we
I'm
find you?
Candice Marie.
Instagram, social
Yes,
media.
you can find me on Instagram at Landon Patterson, or you can find, and YouTube, and then you can find me on TikTok at the Landon Patterson. And follow, subscribe, like, and I can't wait for you guys to join my little family and my journey.
You can just find me on everything at Candice Marie KC. That's CandiceMariekC. But most importantly, that's my Venmo.
Same, Landon Patterson.
Yes. Awesome.
Thank you. Make sure you like, follow, and share our posts and our guests. We appreciate it.
Yes, if you have any questions or comments that you want to leave below, we will answer them, and we will make sure that if you have questions for these beautiful ladies, that we will get them to them, and they will answer them as well.
Yes.
Yes, I'll be in the comments.
Make sure